the heat, but we don't wanna let go. We answer questions that we ask alone. I hear the words, but they're coming out an echo. So, would you give up the fight if you had no time to even surrender? Would you give up your rights and let your life slide away? Suffocates at the bottom. Don't take the bait, just walk away. Resuscitate your nirvana. I feel a way I've never felt before. I finally found what I'm looking for. So, would you give up the fight if you had no time to even surrender? Would you give up your rights and let your life slide away? Give up the fight if you had no time to even surrender. Would you give up your rights and let your life slide away?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 7th episode of FNV. FNV is a show... No, I'll always fuck this up. FNV is a... It's short for Friday Night VTubing. God, you think that at my 7th episode I would have fucking gotten this down by now. FNV is short for Friday Night VTubing, where I, your host Zarastro, interview various VTubers from all over the community. In this episode, our wonderful guest will be Domi Woof. Domi, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, my name is Domi. I am a VTuber who plays horror games and JRPGs. More JRPGs lately than horror games, and I am a lewd tuber. So most of my content is focused around not necessarily not safe for work, because Twitch doesn't allow that kind of thing, but we do a lot of sex positivity and kink positivity stuff on my channel. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Nice, that's a great introduction. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making time on this day, which is Christmas Eve. Sure,
Yeah, no
it's not exactly the 25th, but you know what? I think we can make this a Christmas Eve special.
No problem.
Where, yeah. So let me just get straight into one of our main questions. So, Domi, you say that you are wait, sorry, I'm confused. You're like a dog kemonomimi, right?
I'm a dog boy, yeah.
Dog boy, that one. Yeah, dog boy.
Yeah,
I don't know why that term just completely escaped my mind.
Yeah,
but yeah, could you tell us about your lore a bit?
Yeah, so I am I'm a Doberman. My character's lore is kind of a little bit complicated because it mixes some stuff from personal stories that I've written in addition to some stuff that I came up just for being a VTuber. But to put it kind of short, I'm largely a mercenary who also does practice BDSM and stuff like that on the sides. Video gaming is kind of a hobby of mine, something that I just sort of do between jobs. to talk a little bit about my backstory, I originate from a family of alchemists who have pretty much made a living off of grifting people over multiple generations. And in our past, we had quite a few prominent members of our family try and use magic to sort of warp reality. And as a result of that, as a result of that, you kind of see what you see here.
So
You kinda see me.
the magic caused you to be a wonderful little dog boy.
Not just me.
What?
Our family's magic caused most of the world to transform into animal humanoid races. My primary breed is Doberman, but I also have wolf and dragon blood mixed in as well.
Wait, wolf and what blood? Sorry, I missed that
Wolf
one.
and dragon blood.
Dragon blood. Ooh,
Mhm.
I like that.
Lycanthropy, as well as yeah.
I like that. I also like that part of your lore where you said you're a mercenary. We're homies here.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I always love finding out someone's a mercenary. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, my lore is kind of fused between different universes. Final Fantasy XIV is one of those, and my character in Final Fantasy XIV is predominantly a mercenary. That's like what he does for a living. And so when I transitioned over to being a VTuber, I kind of wanted to keep that aspect of the story just because I really like that profession, and it makes a lot of interesting dynamics for an anti-hero as well, which is more or less what my character is.
Yeah, that actually ties in very well with our next question of the what are your biggest influences or inspirations, if I can actually speak, behind your design. So you say the mercenary part from your Final Fantasy character actually did play a big role and helped with the design.
Yeah, so lore-wise, most of my influences are personal stories. I have a lot of video games that I can thank for that influence, the predominant one being Nier, as well as Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. That pretty much that entire series inspired Dom's backstory, and the game Soul Sacrifice, which is a game that not a whole lot of people have heard of because it was an obscure Vita title that kind of perished before its prime.
I think I've heard of it, but I've never had a Vita, so I wouldn't really have had the chance to play it.
It's a really grimdark story about a world that's just kind of been torn asunder, and everyone is like these horrible amalgamation of demons and whatnot based upon vices.
Oh.
And that relates very strongly to a lot of the lore that governs over my character's backstory. Is just people becoming horrible monsters because of things that they're fixated on.
So it's like if they would be, what would they become if they were like, addicted to, say, drinking, I guess.
So like if they were addicted to like doing kink.
No, to alcoholism. If they were
alcoholism. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much that would be somebody who is like really drunk off of their gluttony. Because that's kind of a gluttony.
Oh, it ties into gluttony. I see.
Yeah, that's kind of a gluttony slash. Yeah, it's mostly it's more gluttony than anything else, I would say. So they would just become extremely obsessed with getting more and more resources for themselves. But the thing about vices in the world that my character's backstory comes from is vices often lead to really bad things. Case in point, the vice which led every human in the world to be transformed into animal hybrid races is the vice of power, the lust for power, which resulted in many magical spells to collide together and render reality asunder and kind of create a pocket dimension of sorts. Yeah, it's really, As for my design, though,
Hmm.
my physical design, a lot of my physical design is based upon punk subculture. So like leather, straps, zippers, buckles, belts, things like that are all things that I've always really liked in character designs. Not necessarily Kingdom Hearts, but like kind of more along the lines of like old style grunge type thing.
Oh yeah,
And I'm also really fascinated by more of the kink side of things, which is like latex and all of that too.
and leather.
Yeah, latex, leather, all of that is
I mean, I've got some leather on
inspiration.
myself. I'm wearing some nice leather boots and a leather jacket, so I dig leather too.
Indeed, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Also ripping those dog tags from the mercenary days.
Yeah.
That actually, I guess that kind of also ties in with the next question with the water who inspired you to become a VTuber. So the what, I guess you know, wanting to build a character off of, well, building the lore and then wanting to build a character with that, I'm assuming also played a big part. But is there anything else that?
So, shattering character a little bit. My character Dominic has existed for probably since I was 19 years old, give or take. His family backstory has always been based upon like occult dealings or cultism and things like that, just because that was what I was fascinated by when I created his family. It's heavily based upon the story Umineko no Nakokoroni, which is a story about a family that is pretty much hounded by a witch that wants to claim her birthright, so to speak, because she kind of helped find the family. So technically, the entire family belongs to her as an asset. And that's sort of part of what inspired Dominic's backstory. But as far as being a VTuber, it was a little bit hard to adapt that without first also adapting the character.
Oh yeah.
And the person who really gave me the idea for this was Melon Rose in chat there. She is my girlfriend. Before that, she was my creative partner. She sort of changed my point of view on VTubing and streaming as a whole, I would say.
Oh, that's
Because
nice.
back when, yeah, well, I've only been a VTuber for about a little over a year now. I started in September of last year.
I mean,
And
hey, you
before
started
that,
before me then.
well, I've been streaming for much longer than that. I was streaming for about 4 or 5 years before becoming a VTuber, mostly just streaming Final Fantasy 14 or just obscure JRPGs, whatever I really wanted to play at the time.
Nice.
And whenever Mel watched my stream, she kind of recognized that I had the character to become a VTuber, like because I was basically my character, but at the same time, like I didn't have my character on screen, so it was more like I was playing the persona without actually having the persona.
Yeah.
And she talked to me a lot about what being a VTuber is, and just kind of walked me through like what VTubing actually is and what it can do for you, and how it can be to be a VTuber. And I decided, after some thought, well, why not? I mean, it was during the pandemic. We were all stuck at home.
Yeah.
I had a job I didn't particularly enjoy doing, so I was like, why not? Maybe this is something that I might actually like. And Mel, in the kindness of her heart, designed my first model, and at that point, I was pretty much sold on it. We designed it based upon my Final Fantasy 14 character, because that had become the greatest recognizing factor on the platform I had at the time, which was Tumblr and Twitter, but Tumblr was dead by that point. So
Rip Tumblr.
But people I knew recognized me as Dom, the purple-haired dog boy that you see before you. So it made sense that should be my VTuber model. And,
that makes a lot of sense. I can totally see that.
Yeah, and Mel brought that into reality, and she's done a fantastic job with all of my outfits and all of the aesthetics that I use on my stream and everything like that. She's made them fit my character's personality as well as my personalities. So yeah, she's my biggest influence in it. That's the long and short of the answer.
I'll definitely have to go check out Mel then after the stream.
Yeah,
to
she's
show her
been
some
doing
love
this
as well.
yeah, she's been doing this for much longer than me.
Oh damn, she's an OG. She's an OG.
Yeah, yeah. She used to stream. She mostly used to stream art on her VTubing streams, but nowadays she's sort of kind of tried to get into gaming as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to do gaming if you don't want to, but obviously it's one of the most. I think it's probably the most accessible in terms of for VTubers to have content to make, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of it also depends on like what the audience wants as well. Like it's really easy to sit and watch like a really chill art stream, which all of Mel's streams are really chill. So I mean, I've had moments in my old job where I would just sit there and work while watching Mel streams. And video games with the right personality can be just as chill, but there are a lot of people who they try to take video game streams too seriously, and then it becomes less chill. It becomes more about like the hardcore aesthetic and vibes and all that.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see that. I think I might be. I try to think of myself as chill, but I think I might lean towards the more hardcore because I just always I always play a game on like the hardest difficulty. So
Yeah,
I tend to zone out and not focus on chat for a while, and I'm just started focusing on like this one fight or something or stuff, and it's sometimes to my detriment, but I don't think it's it doesn't happen too often, at least. I hope. That I know
that's
of.
fair. I mean, everyone has their niches. There are certainly people out there who like watching those types of streams. Personally, I think that I fit more in the more comfy area, but
Yeah.
I also, especially with regards to JRPGs, I don't really do it so much with horror games, but I definitely do it with JRPGs. I consider myself to be more informational than actually entertaining, I guess. Like when it comes to JRPGs, especially when they're games that I actually have like knowledge of, you'll find me explaining stuff in the actual game itself and like connecting it to lore or canon and things like that.
Oh, I see.
Just because I really like doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I mean, if it's a game like Final Fantasy, the lore in Final Fantasy is probably by now like very, very what's the word I'm looking for? Extensive.
It's gotten more extensive with the release of NWA. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. How long has Final Fantasy been around for now, or by now?
At least 8 years.
At least 8 years.
I didn't play 1.0, so probably 10 years, I would say.
Damn, but you've been playing for 8 years then.
7, 8 years, yeah.
Damn, that's some dedication. I have not caught myself playing a game for 8 years. Hell, I think 8 years ago I didn't even have proper internet to watch YouTube. So
I think a lot of it is probably the fact that I'm really attached to my character, but also the game itself.
Yeah.
I mean, the fan base I would stay away from because it certainly is unpleasant even at the best of times, but for the most part it's just a fun game to play. There's a lot of individual opportunities for content and stuff like that in it.
Oh, yeah.
Which I like.
If you don't mind me asking, what makes the community or the fan base so unpleasant?
There's just a lot of people in the 14 community who use vanity as something to brag about. Like I guess it's kind of a curse with any game that has a like significant following that you can create like really pretty characters in or really attractive characters in that a lot of people actually like become that character, and it gets to a point where they start using their clout as that character to kind of do some not so great things. Like I could tell you stories about the amount of people I've met or like the amount of people I've heard of who like had really pretty characters that people like fawned over, and they were actually a really terrible person behind the scenes. And that's kind of it's not a big majority, but it is something that's like prevalent within the community. And there's a lot of people within the community as well who don't really like to have people take responsibility for those behaviors. Like the 14 community makes a lot of excuses for people with pretty characters, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how bad it is. Like if someone has a remotely attractive character, chances are they'll probably get off with it.
Right, I see then. So I can see how that would be not the most pleasant experience if people are just too vainglorious about their character. They see too much into it.
And when you're around people who like practice that kind of thing, especially like when you're friends with them and stuff like that, and you see people making excuses for individuals who like did really terrible things, but like they get a pass because they're pretty. Yeah, that's a bit it's a bit scummy in my opinion. I get upset at I would 100% get upset at that. Exactly.
I actually saw this thing the other day. It's so fucking stupid. I saw it. It was a small section of something that I saw, but someone somewhere said that there's apparently a TikTok trend or something where a guy who got a sentence. There was a TikTok trend going around of people saying free him because he's pretty, and I'm just like, no, God. Why? Just because you look good doesn't mean you don't have to pay for your actions or that your actions don't have consequences.
Completely agree. And unfortunately, a lot of my my time like with Dom as a character has unfortunately found people like that. So it's just it's not something I tolerate much anymore.
I mean, it's probably something you can't really avoid if it's like that semi quote unquote common, I guess, in the fan base. It's probably something a very difficult thing to avoid.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And it happens in the VTubing community too. Like there's pockets of it in the VTubing community a lot. Yeah.
Where somebody has a nice model, they something happens and they did something, but people are like, oh yeah, but I still like their model though.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Although there's also on the other side of that coin, actually something that I've kind of wanted to discuss, but also not, because it's kind of a controversial topic, about cancel culture. What do you think of that? Because like, you know, in the VTuber community, there's like almost every day there's something new. Some new drama, whether it's in your circle and you know of it or not, there's always drama in the community. At least on Twitter.
I think the VTubing community needs to have a conversation about the importance of events and like whether or not an event needs to actually be brought to people's attention. Like there are tons of events that the VTubing community tries to turn into cancellation exercises, which really probably should just be conversations between two people. Like they're events that could probably be resolved a lot less messier if they were just talked about, like just a little bit, like between people who like used to be friends or could potentially still be friends. And there are certainly times as well when people need to be called out. Like if there are people in the community who are like preying on other people, like for example, some of the people who have been called out for being pedophiles, for example, in the VTubing community, those people, I agree, deserve to be called out because that's a very dangerous behavior. But when you're talking about like a problem between two people and the potential that maybe one person didn't behave correctly to the other, I don't feel like that merits a call out, and I don't feel like it merits cancellation. I feel like it merits a conversation between the two people.
Oh yeah.
Now, if that conversation between the two turns into something like really disgusting, that's a different story. Then it can become a call out, and then maybe that person should suffer some kind of repercussions for their behaviors. But I don't really understand why the VTubing community has such a fascination with taking personal like spats.
Yeah, making them public.
Right, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, it kind of reminds me of that guy who like will take screenshots of like Discord conversations that he didn't particularly like agree with and paste them in like public servers and ask people opinions of them. Like it's just that kind of vibe, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah, no, I think there's so much drama that could be just, you know, sorted out just by communication. Just have a talk. Why did you have to call out? The one person blocks the other, then makes a call out post. The other person eventually finds out about it, and then it's just such a mess, just a shit show.
And it's just unpleasant too, because like when it comes to these callouts, some of these callouts are written so like vaguely that it's really even hard to tell like what the other person did.
Oh yeah.
Like I've read several VTuber callouts where like some of them are like these big long paragraphs and like you can kind of get a sense, and then like there's some where like they include so many screenshots that it's really hard to like pay attention to the actual information.
I mean, the one that I'm thinking of right now happened like I think last week or the week before. I won't mention it because I don't want to fan the fire. Even though I'm pretty sure the fire's probably died out by now, because I'm still following one of the parties, because I have looked up to him as a content creator. But in the original call-out post, there were like 3 different stuff in one tweet longer, 3 different paragraphs targeting 3 different people, and it was just such a mess. And honestly, I think. Yeah, I think you. Yeah. So yeah, no, I just that could have so easily been just sorted out with communication. It didn't have to be in the public eye.
Right.
So yeah, and with the other stuff that was added onto that, like directly after the first very vague call out came, then there was another one from a person who was actually affiliated with the main person for they said they've gotten like 6 accounts of people. You know, and it's just you say that, but I can't believe you, because we can't see any truth, and on the internet people just lie and lie and lie whenever they feel like it.
So this is kind of a controversial opinion. I think that people who make accusations like that and don't provide evidence, because there's so many people in the VTuber community who will just say something and expect that they can get away with it because either they know people who have clout or that they have clout following them. I think that if you make an accusation and it isn't backed by evidence, or it isn't backed by some kind of like eyewitness or somebody who's willing to talk about the fact that this thing is true, that person should really be the one who gets canceled. Like, I really think that's inexcusable.
Yeah, I think
in the case that we're talking about.
Yeah, making a call out without having any sufficient evidence and having the other person actually, like, you know, suffer repercussions from that is you should also have some flack thrown your way for making those accusations falsely. Because I think the way that the VTuber community, at least on Twitter, is it's very like cancel first, listen later. It's kind of the feeling I get.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
completely agree.
Well, to get off of this very controversial and kind of like, you know, negative topic, I want to ask. So we know that your preferred content is like JRPGs and Final Fantasy and those kinds of things. Is there anything else that you like to do? Like, I know you mentioned Melon likes doing art. Have you dabbled in art or anything else?
No, I'm not an artist. I am not an artist. I don't do art. I've done like chatting streams or like streams where I will like work on graphics and stuff like that, but not art graphics. They're mostly like VTubing PNG graphics and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So it would be like overlay kind of stuff.
Yeah, overlay kind of stuff. Generally speaking, I mostly play games. That's mostly what I stream. I play a lot of single player games. I do play some multiplayer games. I am a writer. I don't typically write on stream. In fact, I don't really remember a time where I did write on stream. But
even if you don't write on stream, that doesn't mean you don't write.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to tell us about like, you know, what's your preferred genre to write in, or like your audience that you like writing for, type of?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So I will say that I wrote all of my characters' lore myself, and all of the things that that lore is like taken from, I wrote myself. Not necessarily the influences, like the video games and stuff I mentioned before, but like the stuff that came from the influences.
Oh yeah.
I wrote myself. Largely speaking, the genres that I like to write mysteries. I love to write. I like to write fantasy stories, and right now, predominantly speaking, what I do most of my writing is kink writing and kind of like erotic stories is most of what I write, and most of them involve my character Dom Some of them do not. It just kind of depends. But a lot of my commissions are erotic in nature.
That's quite a lot of quite a wide genre range.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered of doing like an erotic mystery kind of thing?
I have before. Mysteries are a little bit hard for me to construct because my process is very chaotic. So it can get a little bit hard for me to do a mystery, but I have actually considered that before. And my character Dom, he has writing as one of his hobbies, and he actually has an erotic mystery story that he works on in his spare time.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool. I don't know if you'd ever publish it or anything, but I'd be interested in checking it out if you do. Can't wait for that.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Hey, there's hope. There's hope for the future, guys. There's hope. So, you mentioned earlier you've been streaming for what, 4 years by now? 4 or 5?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. What's kept you motivated with what's kept you wanting to stream, kept you going?
For a long time, my motivations for streaming were to help my Final Fantasy 14 raid team. That was kind of what I streamed the most of, Final Fantasy 14, for about 2 to 3 years. After that, it kind of evolved into me wanting to share like games I enjoyed with people, just like JRPGs that I had played, or games that I was interested in playing, things like that. And for a while, I just kind of streamed without really caring about the audience so much, but I eventually started to get a little bit annoyed by it, just because I noticed that I'd been doing it for so long and there wasn't really much of an audience to think of. I met some friends at that point, and at that point my motivation kind of became not only that I wanted to get an audience, but also that I kind of wanted to grow alongside my friends. And I don't really have my friends anymore, unfortunately. They're kind of gone now. But after that, once I became a VTuber, my motivation for making content pretty much became that I both want to expose the audience to games that they may not know about, or games that they may have never heard of, or never thought that they would enjoy, but also that I want to I mainly just want to experience games that I like playing with people that like watching me play them.
Yeah, you just want to share the experience.
Yeah, that's pretty much as simple as it gets with me. I don't really have too much of a complicated motivation beyond that. I love playing games with friends. I like doing collabs. I like working on projects and things like that. However, the fact that I'm not an artist and the fact that I only really write kind of makes working on projects difficult, just because I can't really do any of it on my own. I can do like the writing and maybe like the logistics part on my own, but when it comes to like actually designing assets or like stuff like that, advertising, and I'm not good at all of those things. The
visual part.
Right, yeah.
You've got the back end down good, but the visual part is also tough. Yeah, I can 100% relate with you.
Right, yeah. So when it comes to projects, I'm not a very big solo project person. I mostly work in projects that like I work with somebody else. Like I work on a lot of projects with Mel predominantly, but there are other people that I work with too. And as far as collabs go, I mean, my motivation with collabs is just have fun with friends. I used to do collabs with people that I don't know. I don't do them anymore just because there was some bad stuff that happened with that. So nowadays I only collab with people that I either know, or like people that I think I might vibe with, or people that I get like good vibes from. I don't really collab with anybody who's like incredibly larger than me, or somebody who like, I also try not to collab with people who do a whole lot of collabs, because then I don't know if they're collabing because they want to play with me, or if they're collabing just because they want somebody else to collab with.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I'm glad that I then passed the Domi check. I'm glad that I was able to get you on. At least we've been mutuals on Twitter for quite a while by now, I think.
Yeah, it helps to interact. Like if it's somebody that I interact with or that I at least see something from, that's a
Yeah.
different story. But if it's somebody that like I never interact with, they never like ever make any attempts to like any of my like content or anything like that. That person, yeah, that's a big if. That's a big yikes. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been too active on your streams, but I most of the time I don't spend too much time on Twitch, not gonna lie. Most of my time is on social media and stuff, where it's mostly spent on Twitter. So most of our interaction has come from there. So yeah, no, I've looked at your stuff though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really helps when it comes to planning collabs with me because I get very anxious very easily.
Oh yeah.
Especially since I have a storied history of people who only like approach me because they know they can get something from me. And it used to be when I first started VTubing, I kind of thought that everyone was closely knit, I guess. Like I thought that everyone wanted to like help each other grow together. So like I made a majority of what I did showcase other people. Like I didn't really much worry about showcasing myself. I figured if I showcase other people, then that means that those people will help me grow alongside them. Not the case. That's not true. There are absolutely people out there who will use you, who will only approach you as a friend until they meet someone bigger than you, and then they will no longer talk to you. And that has been drilled into my head. So
Yeah, I've experienced that.
yeah.
Yeah. That's actually the kind of the thing that I want to do with the show is I want to be able to showcase, you know, a bunch of other VTubers as well. That's why I kind of I try to be relatively more on the listen side than on the talk side of this talk show.
No.
Because I want the people that are already on my channel is like, you know, they already know me, so they didn't need me on the interview, but they might not necessarily know you. So hey, here we are.
And I treat my collabs the same way. I tend to focus a lot more on my collab partners than I actually do myself. When it comes to my collab streams, generally my goal is less to get people to know me because the people who are watching usually already know me.
Yeah.
And more to like get them to know the person that I'm collabing with, and usually it's a friend or like somebody that I at least vibe with.
Yeah. With that, I think we can now actually open up the Q&A section. So we will now be paying more attention to chat, and if you guys have any questions, then please feel free. We do already have a couple. So Michi earlier asked a very good question. What's your favorite tradition? As in, you know, now that we're in the Christmas spirit, and this is kind of a Christmas special. Not really. We haven't done any focusing on Christmas, so so let's do that now. What do you before we say what our favorite traditions or what yours are at least? What's your favorite thing about Christmas?
So my favorite thing about Christmas is generally the mood. Now it's a lot different lately just because of the pandemics that we've had, so the mood is not quite as easy to find as it usually is. But I just like the Christmas spirit, the general like good vibes that people have, the desires that some people have to get gifts for others, and you know, typically when it comes to Christmas in a normal year, not in 2021, definitely not in 2020.
Not in COVID times.
Right, not in COVID times.
Yeah.
I typically go very far out of my way to like buy friends presents or just like do things that show my appreciation to them throughout the year. I think it was in 2019, it may have been in 2018 that I started writing Christmas cards. Because one of the things that I like to do in my spare time is I collect fountain pens. So I used to write Christmas cards with my pens, and I would like put little paw print stamps on them and mail them out so that people got them. And that was something I really enjoyed doing. It was something that I was not able to do last year, and I'm not able to do this year. But I still enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun.
That's nice. I can't wait for you to be able to do that again, because I love the idea of it. How many pins do you have in your collection, if I may ask?
Oh man, I've been collecting them for a while. I have to have at least 20 or 30. Ooh. I have to. I get one like almost sometimes on my birthdays. I get one sometimes on Christmas. It just depends. My parents and my family as a whole, they like to buy me pens for holidays. I have friends who will like buy me fountain pens and stuff like that. I will buy myself fountain pens. I haven't done so in like 3 years because alongside COVID, I've also been managing like going from job to job and also unemployment for some time, so I haven't really had the financial leeway to do that. But it is something that I did like doing back when I was stable enough to do it, and I would love to be able to do it again, hopefully in 2022 or
soon. Hopefully soon. Please, COVID, just go away. That beautifully answers the question. Yeah, I agree with Tianjin. There is a lot of sentimental value to handwritten stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you practice calligraphy, by any chance?
I have in the past, yes.
You have in the past.
I'm actually not bad at it. I'm good at it when I focus, but when I am unfocused, I tend to kind of write with a flourish, so it's a little bit harder to do calligraphy letters. But my goal when I'm not really focused on it is I'm just trying to write whatever I'm writing as fast as possible, so it ends up looking like doctor's writing, and it ends up less looking like calligraphy writing.
I mean, hey, even if I write slow, my handwriting is absolutely horrible, and not even a doctor could read it. I know my mother works for one, and he can't read it, so. Back when I used to take notes in school, I would always used to take them with my fountain pens just because I really liked the way that they wrote. It was fun. I personally, I think I've only ever had like one fountain pen, but fountain pens just the feeling of writing with fountain pens is just so nice. Versus like your big pen that you buy for like, what's it, like $1 or $2 at the store. Like your what's it? Your Amazon Basics pen.
Yeah, no. I mean, you can buy some pretty good fountain pens from Amazon, just because Amazon does, for some reason, carry a lot of stationary content from other countries.
I mean, I think that's just because Amazon is Amazon.
yeah, true enough. I found a lot of great fountain pens from China, for example. They write really well. They're very pretty. And I found some from Japan as well.
Speaking of
one of,
oh yeah, no, go ahead. You go.
I was going to say one of my accounting pens is from Germany, actually.
Ah, would that be like a Faber-Castell or something, or?
Yeah, I think it's an off-brand. Like it's a similar make, but it's off-brand.
I see. I actually bought one of my friends. Actually, one of my mods here in chat, Nep, is lurking, so I don't know if he's here. I actually bought him earlier in the year as a late birthday present. I bought him a drawing pencil set from Japan on Amazon. Shipped it straight to his house because he lives a couple streets away from me.
Wow.
And yeah, I think I haven't heard too much feedback on it, but I think he's still using it and they're working well. I've seen what is done with a traditional, and the guy's pretty fucking amazing, even though he's never like actually gotten full on into art, but he's pretty fucking good.
I would hope so. I mean, I would hope that he's still using it. That sounds like an amazing gift.
Yeah, I think he's still using it. even if it's not, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
But now that we've discussed Christmas and the Christmas spirit, what's your other favorite holiday or tradition, if you have?
I like Halloween.
Halloween? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really practiced here, but I dig it.
I don't really do trick-or-treating or anything without friends, so like it's a holiday that I typically just like pay attention to by myself.
Oh yeah.
But I do like the vibes of Halloween. I like the fall spirit, and I enjoy yeah, I just enjoy the general spirit of Halloween.
Yeah, no, Halloween's fun. I always I enjoy seeing what people come up with on social media, because I mean I can't personally see like what happens, because down here in South Africa we didn't really celebrate Halloween at all. Like sometimes there would be like a Halloween party, but that would just be between like college students or uni students. They just hold a Halloween party between themselves, and yeah.
Right.
But I always like seeing what people can come up with, how their outfits look, how people decorate their house. I've seen some nice decorations of how people have decorated their house for Halloween, for like a Halloween party and stuff, and it's pretty cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
There was also another question from another mod of mine, Ming. He asked if you play Skyrim or have played Skyrim.
So, yes, I've played Skyrim. I played Skyrim for 150 hours on my PS3 back when they had the PS3 issues, and after 150 hours, my game began to deconstruct itself.
Ooh.
And one day I was playing, the game crashed, and I lost all of my characters. So I didn't play it after that.
I know that
feeling.
I know that feeling.
I did revisit it about 2 years later, shortly after I got into Final Fantasy XIV, to try the lewd mods at the time, and they were a lot of fun to play around with, and they broke one day and I couldn't get them to work anymore, so I stopped.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling of losing countless hours on your characters because of the world dying. My experience is a bit different. I probably had over 1,500 hours spread over a bunch of characters. And I eventually completely broke my game through modding. And
holy shit.
Yeah. I had to move PCs or something. I don't know. I don't completely remember. But I wanted to get back into Skyrim. And I still had my old save files and all that. But I didn't have all of the mods. And, you know, if you've got like over 500 mods and you don't have all of them and you don't know what's missing and your game fucking breaks, you just give up.
That's exactly what happens to me with the lewd mods. Like,
Yeah.
all the BDSM mods and stuff were really fun, and then once it broke, it was like, all right, well, fun's over. I don't know how to fix this.
Yeah, no, I gave up. I've wanted to go back to Skyrim, but I can't muster up the courage again. I've spent 1,500 hours in that thing. It's more than I've spent in CSGO in the last fucking 4 years, and it's just, I tear up a little thinking back about that. It's such a hard time.
Yeah. For sure.
Are there any other like RPG type games that you've played similar to, you know, Skyrim? Like have you delved into the Witcher series? You know, now that season 2 is busy airing or has aired.
Not The Witcher. I have, however, played Dragon's Dogma.
Ooh, my brother is currently, like, actually, right now, playing Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma was a game that I really enjoyed. Once I got to the end, I enjoyed it a little bit less, but up until that point, I enjoyed it. I've played Dragon Age. I played all the Dragon Ages. Inquisition was probably my least favorite, but I did play it. I'm trying. What is the game that I'm thinking of right now that I played a lot of that's like that, and I just cannot think of the name off the top of my head.
What's it like? I might be able to help.
I've played Valheim. I've played at least a good 100 hours or so of Valheim with Mel, who I mentioned earlier. She and I have played it for collabs every Sunday. We have a little segment that we call Dog Boy Sunday that we play together on. Valheim got a little bit unbearable at the 4th boss, I think it was, so we kind of stopped playing it, but it was fun up until that point. As far as there's another RPG, and I'm trying to think of it right now. No, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know that there's another one. I know that there's another one.
What's your those are some good games. I think I've wanted to play Dragon Age the series before, but I've never gotten into it. I'm not sure if I own it. I might. I don't remember. I know my brother has played those as well. My brother has also played through Drakengard, which is the
yeah. Drakengard's really good.
Yeah, it's the kind of quote-unquote prequel. I think it's more like Nier is the... No, not Nier. Is it Nier? Yeah, Nier is like the follow-up spin-off.
Yep.
Kind of.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I can say about Drakengard, because my brother has tortured me with it, is I do not like the music.
That's a shame.
Sorry, some of the songs my brother has played me from Drakengard is just not my favorite. Definitely not.
That's fair.
But,
Drakengard and Nier both are very musically driven series, so that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I can understand that, and I would probably be able to appreciate it more if I actually played the game.
Right.
But just hearing it on its own without, like, you know, context or the feeling or anything, I don't think it comes across the same as when you're like actually playing the game and, you know, the music kicks in and it's or like, why am I hearing boss music? Where if you just play me the boss music, I might just be like, oh.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. You also mentioned now that you do the Sunday, the Dogboy Sunday part. What did you call it? Is it the Dogboy Sunday segments?
Yeah, it's Dogboy Sunday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What games do you collab with Melon then in those segments?
We typically pick chaotic games. We picked Valheim just because it seemed like it would be very fun and chill, but also very chaotic just because it's an open world game and those tend to produce their own like types of chaos. We've played American Truck Simulator before. We've played I want to say we played Overcooked for Dogboy Sunday once. And I'm trying to think. I know there was another game that we played for Dogboy Sunday, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. No, I can't remember off the top of my head. But most of it has been Valheim. It's mostly been Valheim. We're looking to change that just because we're not really feeling Valheim anymore.
So Valheim was recent then for the Dogboy Sundays.
I would say we last played Valheim over maybe 2 months ago, and then we kind of had a lot of stuff happen on Dogboy Sundays to not like do it much anymore, just because like it kept getting canceled or like stuff kept coming up. Mel was here for 2 weeks with me, so like it was impossible to stream anything during that time just because I wasn't home. During the holiday season, we suspended all of our collabs, so we haven't done it during the holiday season either. We were supposed to do it on Halloween. We had a Halloween event planned for Dogboy Sunday where we were going to play horror games together, and like that very morning Mel had to take her cat into the hospital. So he had to go to the ER. And she wasn't able to join me for that. So instead of a Halloween event, which it was still a Halloween event kinda, but I did it solo, and I kinda did it as well to sort of raise money for her in her cat.
I see. I hope the cat's doing better now.
Yeah, he's made a full recovery to my understanding.
That's good to hear.
But yeah, there's just not been a whole lot of opportunity to do it since then.
All right, that's understandable.
We're hoping to get back to it in the new year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like long-running collabs. I also have a long-running collab on Sundays as well. Around now, usually, with a good friend of mine, also a dog tuber, Susu Awu. Not sure if you know her. Probably, maybe not. I don't know.
I do not know.
Okay, but yeah, no, we've had a long-running collab series where we do Danganronpa 2 with very bad voice acting.
Nice.
Susu, I hope you're not offended if you hear this.
I really like long running collabs. I have a long running collab with Sarah Serafi. We play horror games together on Mondays.
Oh.
I have some running collabs with Shion. Shion Kitamura. We play, we were playing a mystery game together, and then we started doing visual novels. So we've been doing visual novels together. I play Terraria with Tomae every Saturday. We've been doing that for a couple of months now, and I'm also looking to where we kind of started another Terraria collab. Me, Mel, Citrus, another friend of mine, and two of my Final Fantasy 14 friends, Rory and also Ani. We started Calamity Terraria. That we were going to be doing on Sundays before Dogboy Sunday, but we kind of haven't gotten back to that too much just because of the holidays and all that.
Yeah.
So we haven't done too much of it, but I enjoy long-running collabs. I think that they really help building a connection between two people who stream, or like two content creators.
Yeah, and you help build each other's communities together. And it's like, each of your own communities get to know each other, and you build that relationship. I like long running collabs very a lot.
Yeah, same here. And I also have 2 long running collabs with Mel as well. We play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney on Fridays, and then we play Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on Saturdays. Typically, yeah.
Wait, so how often a week do you stream?
I try to stream at least once or twice every day, except for Tuesdays. Tuesdays has kind of become my rest day. I've kind of forced myself to take a rest day, but before that, I was streaming 7 days a week.
Damn. And you said it's once or twice a day, so you might even like do multiple streams a day.
Correct.
Damn. I wish I had that kind of time. I wish I had that availability.
Trust me, it's more about energy than availability for me.
Oh yeah, no, I can totally see that.
Yeah, I work Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 Central every day, and then after I get home, it's just depending on like how much energy I have and what I want to do with it.
Damn. Yeah, no. I also think that if I wanted to do that, I'd have to like make 2 thumbnails a day or something, and I don't want to do that.
Thumbnails are the worst part. I tried really hard for a long time to like do all my scheduling and thumbnail making on Sundays, and I got so sick of it that I just stopped doing it. And
I used to, but I got lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, oh god, that's like the worst part, I swear.
Honestly, I don't mind making the thumbnails. Making the thumbnails is fun, and it's like I've done YouTube, like content creation here on YouTube before I became a YouTuber, a VTuber. You won't find it; it's privated. Good luck. But I don't know. It's kind of like ingrained in me in the culture of like being on YouTube, making thumbnails, and I enjoy that. Same as with editing and yeah.
I think I would enjoy it more if I had more skills. Like if I was a better graphical designer, for example, or if I knew how to do like graphical stuff, I feel like I would have more fun with it. But largely I just feel unsatisfied with them. Like I make them thinking that like I'll be happy with them, and then like once I actually like start advertising them, I'm just like I hate it. I just don't like it. So it's not very fun for me.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a graphic designer either. So my Photoshop skills are not the best, but it gets the stuff done. But even then, it just takes a bit. Once you've used the program for a while, you'll get the hang of it relatively easy. I know all of the shortcuts that I use often, or for the tools that I use often. So it can be easy. I can sometimes just schedule a stream within 10 minutes. If I wanted to, I could do one right now.
If it's any consolation, I thought that the thumbnail that you made for this stream was quite nice.
Oh, thanks. Well, I appreciate that. It's actually it's very basic. I did barely anything with it, not gonna lie. I could show you exactly how after stream if you wanted. It's just some tiny little effects that I like using, and I use almost always. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, also welcome Sandy and Travis De Silva. If you guys have any questions for my boy Domi here,
Welcome.
and if anybody in chat still has any questions for my boy Domi here, please feel free to ask. We are in the Q&A section, even though it might not entirely seem like it. We're just chatting, but still, yeah, feel free. So you said you do overlays or well, not overlays. I know you mentioned you do graphic designing and like asset kind of stuff, but what's your favorite type of thing to do to design, or other actually no, disregard that question. A better question is, what would you want to do? Like, say if you don't have the skills for it now, what's something that you want to strive towards to be able to do in the near to far future?
I would really love to be able to develop the skills required to like make like graphic overlays, not necessarily like overlays for like for streams and whatnot, but like starting soon screens or like ending screens, things like that. I definitely don't have anywhere near close to the amount of time to dedicate to learning such a thing. I honestly would probably say I don't really have the drive either. I'm not very graphically oriented as far as that stuff goes. But if I ever like had the time, if I ever felt like I could learn it, that would probably be my choice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've looked at some like, you know, overlays when it comes to like, you know, starting soon, be right back, ending and stuff like that. And some people are just amazing. Like, for example, my starting soon screen, which by the way, to our audio only listeners, or any visual stuff that you might want to see, this has been streamed live on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ZaraStroCH. You can find it there. And yeah, so because this is streamed live on my YouTube, and then I upload it on my audio only platforms as a podcast format on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. I forgot the main one because that's where I actually upload it. But yeah, so those episodes go live on Sundays because it takes a while for me to be able to get the VOD from YouTube. But yeah, no, I've looked at some designs and stuff like that. And for example, the one that I have on my streams has been done by a good friend of mine, Daisuke. If the people who have been in my chat, they probably know Daisuke. So yeah, no, Daisuke is pretty an amazing artist, and that intro was actually done in Live 2D.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not know you could do something like that in Live 2D, and I've been using the program for over a year.
My starting soon screen and my ending screen were done by Mel. She designed all of those assets for my my VTuber debut, which happened in March.
I don't think I've seen your starting soon or your ending, but I have seen your main overlay.
Yeah, that was actually just recently designed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Your graphics look relatively clean, and I like it.
Yes.
Pretty nice. It fits your aesthetic too.
Thank you. That was the important part.
Yeah, always. As long as your overlays match your aesthetic, then it... No, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what it looks like. It does still matter what it looks like.
Agreed.
Yeah. And this set that we're sitting on, or sitting in now, was also made by a friend of mine. She was here earlier in the stream, before she had to go back to work. It's done by Atypical Michi. On Twitter and Twitch. Yeah. Her stuff are also down in the description. By the way, real quick before we end it off, because I think we have about reached the hour mark. So I think we can end it off soon. Guys, please make sure you check out Domi. His Twitter and Twitch are on screen. His socials will be in the description on YouTube and in the show notes on the audio-only platforms. Please go make sure you go check him out. And yeah, with that, let me get my script so that I can fuck it up, so that I can do the outro. So, thanks everyone for coming by and watching or listening to this episode of FNV. I have been your host, Zarastro, and I thank my wonderful guest, Domi, for joining me tonight. Make sure you all check
Yeah,
him
no
out
problem.
on his socials, and make sure you subscribe and follow whatever the hell it is on whatever platform you are on. I don't know. So that you can get notified for the next episode. But until then, and until next time, I will see all of you guys in the next episode. But until then, ciao for now.
Bye bye.